Today's episode is probably going to be a bit humbling for me, and I hope that it is marked by vulnerability, but not scandalous details that would dishonor my marriage or dishonor my husband. And not that there are probably scandalous details, there probably are any, but I want to share from my heart. And to be honest, I knew that this episode was coming up. I had it planned out, and there's a reason why I'm putting this out today. And I have just felt down and just negative about things. And I can really just feel, I just feel like there's been an air about me that just has been not wanting to do this and possibly encouraging me not to do this episode. But I'm recording it right now anyway, because I feel called higher than that to do so and to share this with you. And so I am not sharing this episode for any type of pat on my back, because you're going to hear very soon of all of the ways that I have faltered in our marriage. And the ultimate goal in this is to encourage you in your marriage in the here and now so that we can give glory to God. That's the ultimate end result. So here it goes. Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast, where we talk anything and everything homeschool and all that encompasses the homeschool lifestyle. I'm your host, Leigh Nguyen. I'm a mom who never intended to homeschool, and suddenly I am here, 14 years later, with 2 homeschool graduates and 1 more to go. No matter where you are in your homeschool journey, Little by Little Homeschool seeks to empower and encourage you to carry out this amazing calling of home educating and discipling your children. It's not always easy, but I'm here to walk alongside you because I promise that these years are worth all of your effort. Grab that load of laundry that needs folded, settle in at the kitchen sink to wash those dishes, or tie up those walking sneakers, and let's get into today's topic. James and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary on Tuesday, and that is why this episode is coming out today. I cannot even believe it. 25 years. I feel like our wedding day was just yesterday. The memories are just so clear in my mind about that day. And if you're on the newsletter email list, you were able to see a wedding photo of us from the year 2000. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing that photo of we were just babies, right? You look back at photos and you're like, oh my goodness, we were just babies getting married. And I was 24. I turned 25 a little bit after that. And he was 25 and turned 26 a couple months after that. Our birthdays are actually 7 days apart. So it's kind of wild. But let me give you a little bit of background to us, and maybe you might be able to hear a little bit of yourself, hear a little bit of your husband, or hear a little bit of your story, or at least kind of understand us a bit more, and maybe it will help you then to also relate to others if this is not your story. I grew up in a Christian home, and my husband did sort of as well. And so his was not as focused of a relationship with God as mine was, but during college, I walked away from the faith. I went to Christian colleges and still walked away from God because I just did not have a personal relationship with him. I didn't know exactly what that meant. It was the faith of my parents. And at that point, it wasn't my faith. And so I rejected that. And he also didn't quite understand. I mean, he thought, well, if I do good things, if I'm a good person, then I'll be okay. And when we met, it was the summer after I graduated from college, and I stuck around for that summer. He did not attend the college, but through a mutual friend, we met that summer and became interested in each other. I ended up at the end of the summer moving back home, which was 2 hours away, and because I had my first real job, because I had a degree now. And so we dated then long distance 2 years. He proposed, and then we got married about 5-6 months later because he proposed in the spring. And I was like, we are not doing a winter wedding. We need to try to get this in the fall. So thus we got married on November 18th of 2000. And it seemed like it was going to work and be fine because we were both on the same page. We both enjoyed just living a bit free and not feeling inhibited, I guess I would say, by the Bible. And I knew that what I was doing and how I was living and not living in a relationship with God was not what he wanted. And I knew that things that I did and my thoughts and the way that I acted was sinful, but I just didn't know how to rectify that. I didn't have anybody speaking into my life, and I literally never picked up the Bible and read it. And so he and I were on a similar page, but I knew deep down in my heart that there could be some issues. Anyway, long story short, By only the grace of God are we both now strong believers. It's going to make me cry because I have a good friend who has a similar story. And we look at each other and we're like, it could have been much harder, but wow, God is so good and God's grace is so amazing. And so just by the grace of God, we are both strong believers and we are working through that sanctification that the Bible tells us will happen. And we're doing that together now. And so today I want to share with you, it looks like I have four different things that I want to mention. And the title of this, I put it as after 25 years, these are the top ways I have hurt our marriage. Now, which sounds like a negative. And if you've been around here a little bit, I like to take that negative and turn it around to a positive of what I have learned and the sanctification and the growth that God has allowed in me and the desire for that growth, really. So I am going to be sharing like what the negative is, but I'm going to turn that into a positive and tell you what I did do wrong and then how I changed that. And none of this was overnight. I mean, some of these things, I will be honest, has taken over 20 years for me to get to it. And I hope and pray that it doesn't take you that long. I'm just a little bit stubborn. To be honest, I'm probably not the easiest person to be married to. I have a bit of a strong personality. And the thing is that somehow, for some reason, it tends to be that opposites attract, and it works because he's pretty chill, pretty laid back. But when he becomes unchill, then I know like, oh, okay, I've pushed too far. I've pushed the line. I have whatever. And a lot of the negativity in our marriage, I will own it, is because of me. And I am continually trying to work on that and surrendering to God and working to make our marriage a priority. We are in a different season of life now. I mean, we got married and we started off and it was just the two of us. And I will be honest and upfront and say our first year was rough, very, very rough. I thought at times I had made a mistake, and I'm sure he probably felt the same way. But we knew that we had made this commitment. And I look now and the studies and the things, I'm like, wow, no, we were making a covenant relationship. And so one of the positive ways, I know you're like, get to these four things, I know, but one of the positives that has come out of this is that we have been able to speak from experience to our children. Now, they don't know all details, and nobody deserves or needs to know all details of anybody's marriage and the times that we have hurt each other. Nobody needs to know all of that, but we've been able to talk to them about like what marriage really is. And so as they go into marriage, they're able to see, no, it's a covenant relationship, a husband and wife and God, and just that it's so much deeper. And so I just am hopeful that through this and through our really rough, rocky start, and through our ups and downs, that we've been able to impart upon our children what marriage actually really can be, and that they can start way ahead of us and start at maybe where we are at the 20-year mark or something like that. So that's how I like to say, like, I am willing to be open and vulnerable about my sins, about the way that God has worked in me, if it will benefit another. And that's really my hope in this episode today. The first way that I have hurt my marriage is that I didn't believe the best intentions about my husband. I would think that he was out to get me, that he was holding me back, that he was just doing things or saying no to things because he just wanted to be mean to me, or that he didn't do things that I never asked him to do, but he should just recognize that and know what I want him to do. And if he didn't do it, then he was out to get me or something. And I've had to turn that around and assume the best about him. Assume his good intentions. Assume that he wasn't trying to hurt me when he said that, or he didn't compliment the new dinner that I made, or he didn't say anything about the new dress that I bought, or maybe he said to me that the dress that I bought, I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he was honest because he was trying to protect me from going out in public in something that possibly was not super flattering. And so I've had to say, no, just assume the best intentions about him. Now, I'm also, I guess I should have put this a little bit earlier. I'm going to assume that in your relationship, you are both chasing the Lord. You are both seeking to glorify him, and you're seeking to honor each other as you raise your children in a Christian home. If there is any type of abuse or anything like that, that's going to be out of the realm of what I can speak into right now. And I pray that you're able to find resources and help that are able to reconcile your relationship. So this first one is that I didn't believe the best intentions about him. And when I started to make the default that he actually had good intentions, he just literally did not see the bag of garbage that needed to go out to the garage. He didn't see it. And there's been times I'm like, how did you not see that? And the more he says that he didn't notice things, I'm like, oh, okay, he really didn't notice it. He's not out to get me at all. He just did not notice. And so assuming the best intentions has really turned our marriage around. It has caused me to have a more positive reaction to him and positive thought life, not like in a woo-woo positive, but just like thinking of him better. Instead of assuming the worst, I now try to make my default to assume the best. The second way that I have hurt our marriage over the past 25 years is to compare him to other men. Maybe these other men are husbands that maybe of friends of mine, husbands of maybe the pastor, that could be the pastor, the wife, the husband of the wife, the pastor, but you know what I'm saying, the pastor. It could be comparing him to my dad. That was a big thing when we first got married. James was not a handy guy when we got married. My dad was very handy. And I was like, what do you mean you don't know how to do this? But he's learned so much. Oh my goodness. If you had seen where he started and how he can build things now, I'm like, this is fantastic. So we have to give some grace for areas like that they just haven't grown into that, or maybe comparing them to the things that my brothers can do. Now, James had a very different upbringing, grew up in a city. I grew up in the country. And so being like, well, how do you not know how to do this? Well, country kids know how to do this. City kids don't know how to do this. They know how to do other things. And so one thing that really held me back was comparing him to other husbands. But here's the thing. For most of our marriage, the comparison was to other men that we knew in real life. And so, yes, this can be a little bit, that can be hard, especially if you happen to say, well, so-and-so's husband or Chris, he can do this. Why can't you do this? That'll really strike him down. And so that, yes, that will hurt. But I think for women, there's something else that has snuck in, and that is social media. When we see other men on social media, we are seeing a highlight reel, whether it is maybe a man's social media account or it is a wife sharing something that her husband did. Yeah, maybe he did something that was really cool, but you're not seeing all the things that, maybe annoy her or bother her. Maybe you're not seeing that he never gets his dirty underwear into the laundry basket. You're not seeing that, but you saw this really cool thing that he built a tree house or something for the kids. So it really has opened it up. That comparison has opened up way wider now because of social media. So I want to encourage you to be on the guard for that. Watch for how you are comparing your husband to somebody else. And so that goes back then to number one. To me, these two are tied together. I would compare him to other husbands and then not assume the best about him. So when we compare, then we are saying you are not as good as this person. But God has joined together you and your husband, the man that is right in front of you. And when we start to accept them for how and who they are, yes, we want to allow room for sanctification, but we say, no, this is my husband. This is his gifts, talents, and abilities. This is his strengths, and these are his weaknesses. And when we just see the man in front of us, it makes it so much easier. It makes your relationship, your marriage less combative, because when we're thinking, well, why can't he do that? Like so-and-so can do that. Well, he also has limitations, just like you have limitations. What if he compared you to other women? That would hurt, right? So consider that when you are looking at your marriage. Number 3. So the third way that I have hurt our marriage is that I have taken him for granted. He is so loyal. And I think you can say that about your husband as well. Through the highs and the lows, think about just the ups and downs and just all of the different parts of your life and your marriage. So taking him for granted, I'm thinking of things like getting pregnant with my first and being like, oh, wow, look how cute I am. I just have this tiny little body and I'm pregnant and I'm all belly. And then afterwards, the baby comes out and you realize you weren't quite all belly. And then you have a newborn to take care of. And then who knows how much later another one comes along and another one comes along and you're just feeling frumpy and dumpy. And I look back now and I'm like, oh, it really messed with my mind and stuff. But I just took him for granted that he was just like, it doesn't matter to me. And I would sometimes be like, you're lying to me, or just think in my mind, well, he's just lying. He just has to say that. And just little things, just the fact that he is faithful in serving and providing for your family. Don't take that for granted. And so for many years, I have hurt our marriage by just taking him for granted, to just be like, well, of course he's there, and done things, said things, treated him in ways that were not honoring to him, that I know was sinful, that I know that God did not look favorably upon that. And so that's number 3. Number 4 is talking about him. So the fourth way I've hurt our marriage is talking about him with others. Now, this can kind of go both ways. I know that there are times that maybe we need to talk through something, but then it goes beyond. Are you talking about him negatively to a lot of your friends? Are you talking negatively about him to your children? Are you talking negatively about him to your sisters or sisters-in-laws and mother-in-law, whoever it is? Are you talking about him negatively just to complete strangers? But when we talk about him with others and talk about possibly our arguments or our fights, so just think of your last argument that you had. And if you went around and just spoke to 2 or 3 of your friends and told them about it in the moment that you were hurt and upset by that, then comes the reconciliation between the 2 of you. You talk it through. There might be some tears, and you get to the other side and you're like, okay, we have cleared the air. We have communicated about this and things are good with your marriage. Well, the last time you talked to your friend Sally, she was thinking, what a bad guy you were married to, because you were so upset, explaining this whole story. And now Sally has that in her mind. And so I think we really need to be careful and be on guard about what we share with others and how we share it, how often. And so there's a lot of, this can kind of run into like, I don't know, a little bit. I guess basically I'm just saying sometimes it is okay to talk over, but if you find yourself in an argument with your husband and constantly running to somebody else, or when you're just annoyed about him, talking about him behind his back, it is hurting your marriage. And so before we close today, let me just go through these 4, but I'm not going to mention the negative. I'm going to mention the positive. If you are looking to grow in your marriage, if you are wanting to strengthen your marriage, here are 4 ways that you can do this. And maybe there's just one way you start right now. And then you add a second, you add a third, you add a fourth. And maybe some of these you've already got down pat and you just need to add one. I would encourage you to do that. And I hope that it really blesses your marriage. So the first thing is to believe the best about him. Assume that his intentions are good. So believe the best about him. Number 2 is don't compare him to other men. Look at him as an image bearer of God right in front of you. He is a gift from God to you. Number 3, do not take him for granted. He is faithful. He is loving. He is true to you, and he's committed to your marriage. Don't take him for granted. And number 4, don't talk about him negatively to others. Build him up. Keep the, we'll say I don't want to say the privacy, but just like the sacredness of your marriage between the 2 of you, and work through those things together and not always run to somebody else. Before we end today's episode, I want to read to you Proverbs 14:1. I'm going to be reading from the English Standard Version. And it says, "The wisest of women builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down." And so I think we can insert, when we say house, it's not literally you're building a house. I'm not getting out the 2x4s and hammering them together. Is that even how you do it? I don't even know. I would not be the person to actually build a house. I can hold that 2x4 in place while you go ahead and do what you got to do with it. But it's talking about your house as in your household. And part of that household, the beginning of that household, is your marriage. It's your husband. It's you 2 together. So the wisest of women will build her household, her marriage, but folly with her own hands tears it down. We as women can very easily tear down our marriages, and I have been guilty of that over and over again. And unfortunately, I will continue to be guilty of that. But these are the lessons I have learned, and I hope that I can continue to make them the default. But if we are not building our house, we will become foolish, we'll become unwise, and our folly is going to tear it down. I hope that this episode has blessed you. I hope that it's given you maybe a little bit to think about. And I just pray that your marriage is in a place that's really good right now. And if it is not, I pray that the two of you are able to work together with God and get it to a place that is really, really good. Like I mentioned earlier, I shared a wedding photo in our newsletter. If you want a little bit of a glimpse into some behind the scenes and some things that I obviously can't share a photo here on the podcast, then I'd love to have you on that email list. You can get that link in the show notes, as I would love to be able to connect with you outside of the podcast app that you are listening on. So thank you for joining me today on this episode. And yeah, happy 25th anniversary to us, I guess, right? Oh, the time has absolutely flown by, but it's a really beautiful season in life, and we're really leaning into it. And just know that around the corner, a new season of life is happening, and our marriages are just something that continues to grow, and the goal is to glorify God through it, through that covenant marriage. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If it was just what you needed to hear, would you do me a favor and share it with a friend? And if you would like to connect more, social media links and more are in the show notes just for you. I promise to see you back here real soon.